thinking that Japan is selfish is the highest form of gaslighting. What do you mean you want me to stay here and suffer when there are better opportunities? Oh, we should impact the people. Why?
If everybody goes, who is going to stay? The people that have stayed and struggled are some of the people that they are printed on many currencies.
I don't want to be printed on a currency. I want to have the currency in my bank account.
Do all Nigerians think the same? These 6 Nigerians will be tested with a series of difficult questions, and they'll be presented with a spectrum of options to choose from.
Nigeria is better together. If we harness our potentials from the north, from the east, from the south, we are going to come out very strong.
The differences among all the tribes in Nigeria, it's much, and it has led to conflicts. So we are saying there is unity in diversity, but is there unity at this moment? I mean, I'm tired.
Who will take the label of Nigeria? Who will take the brand?
I disagree. In me, I have the East, I have the West, I have the Middle. Where will I go?
The education system in Nigeria will train you to compete globally at a subsidized rate at that. Then immediately you jabber and leave. You don't want to impact on your people. If God wanted to make you Australian, from birth, you just appear and see the sea.
I went to a public university. Did I get education from the public university? No, I did not. We cannot be throwing applause for some system that has not given us anything.
It has not given you anything.
Yes.
Nigerian system that you went to public
Yes,
university.
Mr. Nonso.
You are speaking like this because you have gone to university.
Yes, Abdulaziz. An emphatic yes.
How will they confront their different points of view? Our first prompt is, despite our continuous challenges, Nigeria is still the giant of Africa.
Nigeria may still be the giant of Africa because, you see, Nigeria will have brains. Even though we have bad leadership, with our brains, we still are up there. So we are still needed. We are still wanted.
I agree with you, but when I look at Nigeria as being the giant of Africa, it depends on the context. In spaces like music, globally, internationally, we're not just national stars, like we perform in all sorts of countries. We've won so many awards, music, in film, even in fashion. Like the other day, I read in the news that some of the top brands in African fashion come from Nigerians, the Maya Tafos. And I heard in technology as well, there's this, I can't remember his name, he's taking egusi to space. No other African country has done that. We're the first people to take egusi seeds to see how they behave outside of the atmosphere. In terms of that, I think that we're leading in some ways. So yeah, definitely, I agree with that.
I agree that Nigeria is still the giant of Africa. In different areas, in different spheres, you can see that Nigeria is excelling. Apart from our political thing. For example, in the field of medicine, Nigerians are still performing very well abroad. Even in sports within Africa, Nigeria is excelling. They are doing well.
I choose somewhat agree because by data, it depends on where you are taken. Like they all said, you can't just blanket everything in one place. I always say that the case of Nigeria is a case of a palm tree. You have the tree in your house, but it's your neighbor that is getting the shade. Nigerians are out there contributing a lot to global health. We probably have the largest number of talents outside the country. So that's the reason why I said, when I somewhat agree that we are the giants. We're not contributing for Nigeria, but we're contributing to the world.
So I chose disagree. With all you have said is correct because it depends on the context, right? I got the opportunity to recently meet some other Africans, and the things they're achieving, and even some countries I've visited, the infrastructure they have, we're way behind. So I think we used to be the giant of Africa in terms of infrastructure, things we could produce, who we are, but it has dwindled over time. Other countries, they have outpaced us, but are just still loud about, oh, we are the giant of Africa.
I choose somewhat disagree, and these are my reasons. Nigeria isn't really doing as good as we have potential for. It's like likening us to a class of maybe 40 students. Out of 40 students, there's no other person who makes 80%. The kid who makes 56%, because he's the highest, goes home with a puffed up shoulder, saying he's the best in class. What we call modern Africa has existed. Has Nigeria really been the pace setter for the continent of Africa? I think I would say an emphatic no. When we compare this to, other players in other continents, has our output been exemplary, for these other countries to follow? I would say no. We used to be that on the onset, but right now we are not.
What is the context of being the giant of Africa? You've mentioned things like politics, like the economy. I think sometimes we tend to sideline these as the more important ones. When you say, are we leading the country? If you ask the country that's music, Nigeria. No other country in Africa compares.
When I said, are we the pace setters? Is our output determining what sets the pace for the other countries in Africa? When you pick music, Nigeria is necessarily doing well because we have a higher population. It just makes sense that if you put 200 million people and then you put 3 million people here, 6 million people here, and you ask how many of them have the chance of playing better football, the chances that 6 million people and 3 million people will produce more footballers, more quality footballers, as against 200 million people, is a lot less. I think we are still playing on the advantage of numbers.
I don't agree that we're playing a numbers game. I think when you say we're playing a numbers game, you downplay the effort. It's not a numbers game.
My name is Edidiong Eton. I'm from Akwa Ibom State and I'm a banker. I still think Nigeria is the giant of Africa. There's so many areas where we're still leading. I know a lot of people mention stuff about it's a numbers game, we're not leading, we're just average. I think we do quality stuff. I think we're quality people. And to a great extent, we are giants. Nigerian music has been popping for years. Like, you can never ever downplay it. I know that there are more important things. But we like to jaye, we like to dance, we like to... How dare you say, no, please. When it comes to music, we're up there.
We may not be the pace setter. I want to see us as, when we see the pace, we pick it up, we run with it, and we come out strong with it.
The numbers that you're talking about in itself is human capital. That alone is a metrics for being a giant somewhere. Some countries are facing a decline in population. So that alone is a metrics. You have a market already. The numbers should not even come in this conversation. It's the same thing that made China where it is.
The numbers are there. I agree. But are there infrastructures or processes in place to make us thrive as a people? We're not trailblazers. So if the numbers are there and we're not still the trailblazers, we are still looking onto other countries. Let's try and emulate, for example, electricity. We are still looking at other countries that are supposed to be bigger than the giants of Africa. We are still looking at them. How do they achieve this?
The countries that we are looking at, they are not African countries per se.
No.
I mean of the African countries. We are looking at the foreign countries, white countries within Africa. I think we are there.
My name is Emmanuel Balogun. I hail from Ondo State. I'm in my 60s anyway. On the whole, Nigeria is still the largest country in terms of population, and that population still gives us strength. There are areas too that Nigeria is doing well. I wonder which country in Africa can face Nigeria when it comes to issue of battle.
In terms of light, our neighbor just say Ghana, they have constant light. Cote d'Ivoire, they even
South Africa.
Is that all?
No, but I'm just saying based on what he just said in terms of electricity.
I'm not saying that we are just using that.
Now, the reason I still somewhat disagree with, if you look at the statistics, it clearly points to the fact that Nigeria has, in many respects, not been the kind of pace setter Africa needs at this time.
Of course.
Maybe we seem to be leading in a class of average performers. I may admit that, in some sectors. But again, pointing back to population, you begin to understand it is the reason why we are the poverty capital of the world. It's not because there are no poor people in Ghana. It's not because there are no poor people in Ethiopia. If an economy is performing poorly for 200 million people, the chances that you have more people who are under the poverty line is a lot higher than you will have people who are under the poverty line in an economy of 6 million people. So you see how the numbers play here.
But we have YouTube now. We live in a global village now. Everybody can use any platform to do whatever. It's your talent that will speak. People are not foolish. They know what's good. If it's that musical, just leave it to. Just leave it.
Population is a strength. Yes, there are more poor people than there are rich people. But that's the same thing in every country. So why are we acting like Nigeria is the first country that has this, this kind of ratio? Say an artist released a song, 200 million people in a country listen to your song. That's a hit in my book. Must it be until it's 20 million people here, 20 million people in another country? I don't think so. Numbers can be your strength.
They agree that Nigeria is giant of Africa because they were trying to be patriotic. But to be honest, I feel like even within Africa, if you travel properly and you see different people's perspectives, what they're doing, what they're achieving, you realize that and I'll be attacked for this, but we are the loudest.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying the video so far, now will be the perfect time to hit the subscribe button and like the video. We are really close to 300,000 subscribers. We appreciate if you help us get there. Now, let's get back into the show. Dividing Nigeria would be more beneficial to our people.
I disagree. Because where will you put me? In me, I have the East, I have the West, I have the Middle. Where will I go? I went to schools with everybody. I went to a unity school. I don't know if we were feeling state of origin in our forms then, but your tribe was not an issue. You are sitting with somebody from up north, you are from down south, you are friends, you are everything. I don't know how we became enemies anyway. Removing that mindset, we will do better together. I am Irene Olokbade. I'm from Delta State, Ishekiri by tribe. I'm a civil servant. My father's father is Ishekiri. His mother is Ijo. My mother is from Edo State. She's a Ghanaian. Then I now married a Yoruba man from Ogun State. So you can imagine, my children are from everywhere. So if Nigeria should divide, where do I go? Or what will happen to my children? I just imagine now that I want to go and visit my husband's family. I will now look for visa. I don't think it will work.
I also disagree. Nigeria is better together because there's an adage in Yoruba that says, "Agbajowo la fi n sọ̀yà, àjíjẹ́wọ́ kan ò gbẹ́rù dórí." With a full hand, you can strike your chest. And one hand cannot carry a load to your head. If we harness our potentials from the north, from the east, from the south, middle belt, south, we are going to come out very strong and even stronger than any country in Africa.
I chose somewhat agree. To be honest, I was on the fence between somewhat agree and somewhat disagree. So I do agree that there is unity in diversity, like you said. The differences among all the tribes in Nigeria, it's much and it has led to conflict. So we are saying there's unity in diversity, but is there unity at this moment? And yes, we can fight to say, yes, let's try and bring unity together for us to come together, but I'm tired, personally. So I don't know if everyone else is tired.
I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for my tribe. It's human tendency. They want to divide and divide and divide. Divide the Southwest today. A Yoruba man from Oyo will say he's the original Yoruba man. Someone will say he's Ijebu. They will keep dividing and dividing. To when will it stop? The current world-leading country, the USA, they grew because of diversity. And of course, it does not negate the fact that there are homogeneous societies like Japan that have achieved the summit of their potential by homogeneity. For example, I'm from the north. I'm not even fully Hausa. So how? Where will it stop?
Well, first of all, I like how we're all saying divide, like we'll just bring map, we'll just draw line, everybody just go. And then you brought up conflict. Do you have any idea how many people will die if we decide to divide the country? Let's start with that, if we're talking about conflict. And again, some people will say, I don't want this side, I want this side. My father is from here, my mother is from here. Which side would you? There's a lot more technicality in dividing a country than just, okay, we are there, we're now here. There are states that have, their rivers share, but do you draw a line in the middle of the water? We're so melded. And I don't know, perhaps that's how God intended it to be. We tried it before and it didn't work out. And aside from that, we're very dependent on one another. There are some states that if you cut off there's no food for them to eat. They'll just be eating fish because they're just riverine areas, or they'll be eating the vegetables that grow only there. In terms of commerce, there are states that depend on one another to trade goods. Even Lagos, as big, as fancy as it is, if you cut off Lagos from some places, there's nothing there. The weight of the toll it would take on the country if we divided is more of my concern. There's conflict, there will always be conflict, and I get being tired of conflict, but you either be tired of conflict or we go into another form of conflict, which will literally be war, because it's happened before.
Who will take the label of Nigeria? Who will take the brand? Yes, because we live in a capitalistic world. Who will take the brand? We can do divided administrative stuff, like the whole regionalism stuff. Everybody can divide into a region and then develop their region, and then it has worked before.
How will we get a president? Who will be the president?
It doesn't have to be a presidential system.
Really matter.
I strongly disagree, because the conversation of whether Nigeria will be better if we are divided is a deviation from what the real issues are. Our multiculturalism is actually a strength on many levels. It's actually a beautiful thing for those who have had the opportunity to live around, grow up in different places in this country. You begin to appreciate what it means to eat tuwon masara, for instance, to eat ewedu, and the Kaikong, that's one angle to it. But when it comes to what the issues really are, the basis upon which we have been made to associate is faulty.
True.
And that is the reason why we bicker amongst ourselves, on the basis of sentiments that neither of us have created. Language, food, culture, none of us sitting here present has created this.
And after everything you all have said, but our customs and beliefs are very different things, and that's part of what is causing the clash. And until we can find a leader that will make us see ourselves as Nigeria first, nothing can be done. And it doesn't seem like we're going to have that leader anytime soon, to be honest. So I'm tired of the conflicts. My name is Romy. I'm a founder, serial entrepreneur, and I'm from Edo State. Again, the conflict is excessive. Who we are as a people, our cultures and beliefs, they're totally different and they're clashing. Most of our cultures and beliefs are clashing, and it's a problem. Let everybody go their separate ways instead of hammering and flogging on same issues over and over again. I used to think with tribalism will fade out with our generation, but it gets worse. The only thing is that our generation is better at hiding it.
We need a leader to tell us that we should think more.
The leader plays a very large percentage, a very large part of it. Yes, we can start with ourselves, but you're one person in, you said 200 million people.
So by leader, do you mean a president?
Not just a president, leader in every ramification.
Then you too are a leader.
Yes.
Of course.
That is it.
You too are a leader.
Very
you
correct.
should start with you. Keep the notion of division and preach what you believe in.
There's just so little that we are doing a lot, but there's still so little we can do. The time
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The power in a lot of ants outweighs an elephant. And I don't know the adage, but let me just get to my point. Let me calmly get to my point.
Boiling over.
Okay, so you see, what we need is understanding. My personal opinion, I don't feel like Nigerians understand themselves. I came from the north. I came here. A lot of stereotypes. And I sit down and wonder, are you talking about where I'm coming from? The only thing that the government put in place for all of us to understand ourselves, NYSC. No, everybody is getting redeployed to their father's house instead of around their father's land. So if we're contributing to corrupting the systems that are put in place by the leaders, whose fault is it? No Messiah will come and save this country. It's all of us that need to do that. We need to start from working on our virtues.
Yes.
Everything that you're not doing right, start doing it right.
Yeah.
The kind of change we are looking forward to necessarily begins with each and every one of us as individuals. Mm-hmm. However, there is a limit to which that energy can take us to. And that is the reason why nations that have succeeded have necessarily done that on the basis of charters. That is the reason why constitutions, documents that gives life to the basis upon which we all must integrate and, associate what comes to who, on what basis. We are sitting on a flawed constitution. Everybody trying to grapple with ethnic identity because the central constitution that was supposed to unite us together has done a very poor job. It has not created a Nigeria that is equitable for every Nigerian, irrespective of the tongue you speak, the region of the country you come from.
You see, I'm not an expert in law. Just this last week, I have seen a charter that was provided by the federal government on, I think, the value charter. They realized that we have problems of honesty, integrity. The government now is trying to institutionalize that. When you go through school, you go through that system and they'll tell you if you are not told from home not to lie. They'll do that in school. I'm not defending the mediocrity that the government people are doing, but I see efforts and I appreciate it.
Where is the effort? I have not seen it. All I know is that they share rice, country spoiling, share rice, bad road, share rice, people have died, share rice. Maybe he's experienced something, but for me, I've not seen the effort that's being put in.
My young man keep talking about conflict. Is there any human society where conflict will not be found? In as much as we have 2-3 people gathered, there must be conflict. The tongue and the teeth, they do fight. But here the tongue will not say, let me get out of this place. So we need to condone ourselves as this thing. Let us forget about the conflict. And when you look at it, from onset, all this conflict was not pronounced. It's recently that all these things started coming up. You need to know history to know where you're coming from. Growing from various places, what you are fed with is what you exhibit. Our politicians, they knew this, that once they introduce tribal issue, once religion comes in, a lot of things will change. These are the things that they use to divide us. Nigeria will be stronger if they can integrate
it's important that Nigerians begin to see that where we are now, we just did not arrive at this place. If you're a student of history, you will understand that we have always struggled with integrating ourselves even before independence. I think the problem here is that we are blinding ourselves, to what has happened before, begin to pretend like these issues never happened. You begin to see the reason why the very first government that was set up in Nigeria had to come from a place of bickering. We had to fight for who becomes president, who becomes prime minister. We had been struggling with the issues. I'm in my 40s, and I can tell that having seen Nigeria come from the military era and down into the civilian era, I can tell you that nothing really has changed. The issues have only gotten worse until we find a system that guarantees fairness for you and for me. The entry criteria must not be dropped down for you as a consideration for where you come from. These are factors that the Constitution must guarantee. The man from the West comes to the North. He should be assured some measure of liberty to live as a Nigerian in the North, despite the fact that he has come into an environment that is different from his. The reason why we're having these heated cohesions between the many ethnic groups is because we have necessarily been put into one space geographically, and we don't seem to understand the principles upon which nations grow. Equity, justice, fairness.
No society will thrive without justice and fairness. You are subtly bringing issues about equality instead of equity. If these people are not getting the same input, there is no way that you set the same limits for them. You want equality when the environment is not the same. That will not ensure justice. So that's what I just wanted to iron out. But about justice and fairness, everybody should be treated equally. I think it should be written in the Constitution and it should be implemented. Personally, the problem of Nigeria is implementation of laws, yes, and the amplification of consequences. If somebody does something, they should be punished. When they are punished, it should be publicized. Any politician, let me go to the top, bribery, corruption, they should be punished. They should be brought so that the public should see. In China, what they do is they have a museum, sort of, that they put you in prison there. From primary school to secondary school, they will be taking children for vacation there to go and see, oh yeah, this man, you see him here? He stole our money. Do you want to be like him? Do you get? So these are ways that they have used to amplify the consequences of. We can be more creative. Nigerians are very creative.
We want to ensure that the doctors qualify and that we're not making them doctors necessarily because we need to fill up a national quota. That the people who join the police meet the criteria, and that criteria must ensure that when they come out, that they must primarily have the value for the lives of their fellow citizens. When we have a system that ensures merit, we will not struggle with certain things.
Who is going to rewrite these laws? Who is going to implement these consequences?
You and I, because we are future leaders.
Let's be for real. Let's be for real. It is the government.
Politicians are slaves to power, and your votes give them the power. So if you set standard for yourself, you say you are not taking this nonsense.
I think we're taking this conversation entirely off the original trajectory, and we're entering something else.
I think he mentioned that, okay, who is going to do it? Even if you divide the country, who will still do it?
The question of who will implement it is a conversation that will be handled when we have handled the fundamentals. We must come to an agreement on who and what Nigeria must be. It's rather a shame that the Nigerian conversation is even just pillaging around Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba. Do you know how many ethnic groups in the North? So until we are able to guarantee a constitution that does not recognize Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, until that time will the Efik, the Akwa Ibomites, the Kaduru people, the Koro people in Kaduna State will have a say. So that say will be guaranteed irrespective of where you come from. I think making it look like it's a three big brother conversation is, doing injustice to the other people who do not qualify for that big brother status.
Please, we should not divide it.
The Nigerian citizens are just as bad as its leaders.
Who puts the leaders there? Let's start with that. Who put them there? They did not magically appear. We have elections. I should have picked, and strongly agree. Because somebody cannot get somewhere if you do not create a system where getting there is possible. The amount of people that come together to say, this person, we know he's corrupt, we know he's a bad person, we know that he will not do this thing, but I like him because he has given me 500 naira, I'm going to vote for him. Who are the people that do that? And if you look at it, the amount of people that want to actually do the right thing and vote, the amount of people that will collect 1,000 naira for 8 years of bad leadership is... So I think they're just as bad, or sometimes maybe even worse.
I chose disagree. That we disagree that most Nigerians or all Nigerians are not like our politicians is the reason why you and I are here. We are pained by the frustration of the system we live in. I bet that if you have a driver's license, I would say almost 100%, that the process by which you got your driver's license is most likely not legal. You do not have a way of verifying that the driver's license you have today is the authentic one. And so also, sir, for the vehicle you imported into Nigeria, you do not have a way of verifying that the process via which you got this vehicle document, is legal. And it is the same frustrations we all have seen, and it's the reason why when we speak from a perspective, you know what, I am not cool with this system. It is the reason why it has to stop. And I don't want to believe that there are so few of us in this society, that the system we are running is still not set up in a way that the voices of those who disagree with what is happening can be heard properly by the expression of vote. My name is Nonso and I play in the engineering sector, automations precisely. I see that the issues are getting even more complex as the days go by. And where we are today as a country, Nigeria, did not just happen. It is a dirt ball that basically kept rolling, and as it was rolling, it kept picking masses of dirt, and kept increasing in size, till we got to this very point. And until we start addressing the issues, not just, the effects of the core issues, the structural issues with our nationhood, we will not get it right.
So I chose disagree and not strong disagree, because I'll piggyback on what he's saying. Nigerians are not, you won't say they're as bad as their leaders. We are different people. I call it individuality. If you want to look at the amount of Nigerians that are thriving abroad, you see that they are thriving without corruption. So I don't think inbuilt we are as bad as our leaders. It's the system that has been built.
There's corruption abroad, though.
There is.
Corruption day like mad. It's just that we're not seeing it because we're not there. They are just better at hiding it. And we've just become so comfortable with how corrupt we are. You know that you don't have a driver's license. You just keep 1,000 naira in your pigeonhole. Police officer will ask you, just take small thing for malt. Voting aside, the teacher in the university that asks you to sleep with him before he gives you grades, the people at the NYSC office that collect bribe, the bosses that say you must do this one before you get to this level, people that do ritual to get to... It is ingrained in every single person and it's normal. You get somewhere, you're the only person that is normal and you're like, I've brought my paperwork. Which paperwork? Better bring your 20,000, let me do this thing for you and go to where I'm going to. Even some people that are raising their children to already know, when you see police, just do this. When you see this person. And it's just, we keep doing that. They teach it in schools unconsciously. Your child will watch you. How come every time police come, you just bring out 500 and give them?
Every one of us appreciates how bad our system is. I'm only saying, as bad as our system is, that if we make statements like this, it simply means that this conversation you and I are having, we will be very disinterested in it. The reason why I am not comfortable with police brutality is not because I don't have access to a lawyer. It's simply because I have seen that the issues I fought for or I suffered as a younger man are still the same issues that are going on now. Do I look at the younger man and tell him, you know what, the solution is, I will link you up to my lawyer? That's not the solution to the problem. It's the reason why in 2020, young people took to the street to say no to this. It is the reason why in 2023, the awareness for picking up your PVC vote cards to go and vote was viral. I am not too old, but I have never seen an election with that much of awareness ever in the history of this country. It's never happened. Something is in us that is fighting this system. Until we realize that if we can put those forces together, that energy together, we can defeat this system. I don't want to have my child tell me he has to sort a lecturer in school to pass his grade. I want to teach that child. It's the reason I am paying school fees. I don't want the police to tell me we have 5 numbers for DPOs across Nigeria you can call each time you have a problem with a police officer. The thing is, sort the problem with the police. It is the reason why you and I are screaming about this.
I think it's very hopeful, which is an awesome thing. But hope is also very dangerous because hope it fogs up what you're actually looking at. We shouldn't shy away from, this is true, washabat. We shouldn't say, no, but I do think that he was being very hopeful, and that sometimes can be a good thing. But hope is also, like I said, it's also very dangerous.
I agree. I didn't say strongly because I know there are some percentage of Nigerians who are not. There are more Nigerians who would rather just do what they expect them to do and just get away. In our little space, how do we govern? I am in an office. I would rather, not me, I would rather you sort me and I will do what you need me to do for you. My defense now is that my salary is not much, so every extra kobo I get will help me, will go a long way for me, without remembering that is the corruption we are talking about. It's just that it's getting bigger as you go higher.
I chose agree. I'm being a scientist. I don't want to say strongly disagree without data. If you had given me data, I would strongly agree. I'm someone that likes to take personal accountability. People that have car who disobey traffic laws, is that the government doing that? You dump refuge, is that the government's problem? That's the same thing that somebody in his Senate office will feel like, okay, if I sign this thing now, it's nothing now. It's just scale that is the difference. In the same government, there are good people and there are bad people. So there are still people within our population that are doing the right things. I always tell my uncle that your generation have disappointed us. Yes, good people did not enter politics during their time. All of them were saying, I'm man of God. I don't want to go and do small this thing. It's very huge responsibility. But now it's impacting on a lot of us.
Yes.
I hear everyone. My stance has not changed. Matter of fact, I think I even strongly agree now. But that was just fun. But here's what I see also happening. Our leaders have also made us a certain way. What you see them doing and getting away with creates an idea that if that man at that level can steal 100 billion, I can steal 10,000. I can steal 100,000. The systems are in place anyway. Okay, you mentioned that they will stop you go and pay the official way. Not everybody has that money to do that. You have the time, you have the money. Sometimes they stop bus drivers.
We need to create time for certain things so that to stop these people from extorting us.
I'm just driving my keke. I don't make. How much do I make?
Need to do that.
Is it 2,000 I'll give you, you leave me? Please give me back my source of income.
Let me tell you, I'm not buoyant. I'm a teacher. But I would prefer to do that than giving anybody any money in such a way.
They will
delay you.
Yes. Common sense that certain actions are inevitable when people are stripped of choice. Okay? I need Nigerians to realize that the reason we seem to be boxed into this corner is simply because we live in a system that has not guaranteed us equitable choice. I lived in a Nigeria where the local government refuse disposal team came to my house in Kaduna on the weekends and they picked refuse. And we did not have any need to go to the local government to go query somebody why has our refuse not been picked. Where we are today is a culmination of the little ball rolling and keep picking dirt, and as it's picking that down the line, it keeps growing bigger and bigger. And so we are now in a system where even you and I, who naturally will want to do what is right, are stripped of choice. For us to insist on doing what is right, we need to take more than the average step the average Nigerian will take.
It will be a hard pill to swallow for them, but whether we like it or not, we are a bit of our government. If we are given the same opportunity that our leaders have, we will likely do the same, if not even worse.
We should not just be seeing the elected people as the only leaders. As a matter of fact, an elected person has minimum 4 years and 8 years if he's lucky. You too are a leader from your home. Take self-accountability. Don't just take it, advocate for it. Tell the people that are next to you that you should do the same. The money that you are giving the last mile person, if you keep giving him, let's say every week you pass by and he stops you, when you do the cost analysis, you will find out that the money that you are supposed to spend doing the right thing at their office, you have spent 5 times it by the end of the year.
Some months ago, we made noise about, the e-passport, how quick you can just log in and, get your passport process approved. I am also involved in the same process. My passport is expired. I need to renew. I still can't successfully log on the website. I still have to go to the passport office. Listen, my brother.
So take that sector and advocate for it.
Abdulaziz, let me learn. See, The reason why you don't have to beg somebody in one of the banks to help fast forward your ATM processing is because it works. The reason Nigerians are complaining is because the system has been thwarted that it will not work. The country as it is set has held us handicapped, that if it becomes a lot difficult for you to do the right thing, the processes you have to go through to be able to get the right thing done is a lot more cumbersome than that it will take you to do the wrong thing. Let's not make it look like Nigerians are not doing enough.
I get you, and wallahi, I feel your pain because I've passed through similar processes. What I'm saying is, we normal citizens of Nigeria, we see Nigeria from a very simplistic point of view. Somebody will talk about the transport system. Somebody will talk about the environmental system. Somebody will talk about the legal system. Somebody will talk about the health system. You've gone through your e-passport thing. Then focus on, go and read about it. What does this say?
I don't
come and advocate for it. You have
right?
a House of Rep. You have a senator.
To you, right? Do I have to
It's
call
not
a
about
senator just to get my passport renewed?
Nobody is saying call a senator.
Are you listening to what we are saying?
Calm down.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I think that we're looking at this in a very, very complex, in a way that does not need to be. Hold on.
Look,
hold
I want
on,
to tell
hold
you
on, hold on.
something.
You can speak when I'm
I
done.
have
You can
always-
speak when I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I think for some time we're looking at this in a very, very complex stage. The question is, are Nigerians as bad as their leaders? That's the question. Hey, now wait.
Okay.
So there are so many things, right? But let's just look at it this way. Are people doing things out of frustration sometimes? Or is it just because it just makes life easier for them?
Yeah.
To get your visa, okay, go to this process, do this process, do this process. Why do I have to do that when the MD of the something is my friend? I just walk into his office, I need something done. Does that make me a bad person? No. But I've realized that it's just, why not?
Everybody will do
Hold on. That's what I'm saying. The cleaner has seen, see how this rich man just do. So she, in her own pockets, will go and look for something that will benefit her. Because everybody's looking out for benefit. What we're talking about, if somebody does something bad, punish them. But when people do good things, there's no reward. So yes, hold on.
Yes.
So that means you just rather do that. And it's easy to say, educate yourself. I know lawyers that would rather pay behind the scenes than do what the Constitution says. They are practicing it. Yes.
I also know lawyers who would rather do what is
right.
Yes, there's doing what is
know.
right. Doing what is right is great. And it's awesome to say, okay, let's do this and I'll spend 10 days to get my passport. But by the time you finish doing, there's that lady that went to go and vote and hoodlums came and they beat her up. Is that the poster child for do what is right? When children see that if I go to vote for the right person, they will beat me, they rather won't.
It's as simple as, okay, you want to get a train ticket in Nigeria, go online and book your ticket. You are online, there's no seat available. You need to travel. You get to the station and somebody is telling you, give me 10,000 as to 3,500 that you're supposed to pay for that ticket. Give me 10,000, I will give you a seat. Is that right?
Most of the people that you're even saying they are bad or they have to bribe, the people in the lower class, they're acting on FOMO, fear of missing out. See what other people are doing, me, I must do my own. They don't even know what they are doing and repercussions. So we should just work on ourselves individually, like you have said. Yes, and hold each other accountable. Again, the leaders have a large part to play, but we can still do our best. I said they were acting on FOMO, fear of missing out. My own friend, she did this and she got this 2,000 naira. Me, won't I get my own way? Me, I'm hungry. That's the level to which they can think of. I think if most Nigerians know better, they wouldn't be doing that. We're not terrible people. We're not as bad as our government.
The Japa culture is unacceptable and selfish.
Once again, the controversial me will say that the reason why I say somewhat agree is for people that are trained in public universities, for example. At the beginning of this conversation, I liken Nigeria to a palm tree. We have a tree in our house, but it's the neighbors that are getting the shade. Nigeria, the education system in Nigeria will train you to compete globally. You just finish at a subsidized rate at that. You get that, then immediately you jabba and leave. From your village, you are probably one of the few people that were taken out of random luck to go to the university. Then you finish, you don't want to impact on your people, you want to go out. If God wanted to make you Australian, from birth, you just appear and see the sea. My principles have always been live a life of impact. But the reason why I will not say strongly agree is because, of course, at extreme cases, migration is allowed. But before, I used to hold a very strong view on anti-Japa. I even started a hashtag. That's how passionate I have.
I think that thinking that Japaing and blah, blah, blah is selfish is the highest form of gaslighting. What do you mean you want me to stay here and suffer when there are better opportunities? Oh, we should impact the people. Why? Why can't I impact myself? What's wrong with being comfortable? I came into this world alone. I have a community. Lovely. But is it my duty to remain there and stay with them in the fire, in the mud, and let's all do this together? That is a very lovely mindset to have. When a man needs to feed his family and there's opportunity for him to go abroad and have a better life, will he say, I stand with the people in my village, I want to make them better, let me stay and continue to be broke? Or there's opportunity for me to go somewhere and I know that I'll make it. And I will take that chance because it gives me a better chance at life.
Let me tell you this. The people that have stayed and struggled are some of the people that they are printed on many currencies.
I don't want to be printed on a currency. I want to have the currency in my bank account.
You see, that's personal. And maybe you went to private university, your parents paid through. The people that I'm saying is selfish on them are people that went to public university. If you study medicine in Oxford University, that's a fortune. A lifetime fortune for somebody. Then you came to University of Ibadan. You got it at 150, 100. Then you immediately leave.
Yes.
Without...
Okay, Abdulaziz, I raised my hand.
Why didn't you go there? I'll end this with an adage. For people that are yet to make up their mind, you go very fast alone, but you go very far with a lot of people.
They can also drag you backwards.
You will not know
your
until you
community
try.
people can also drag you
But you
backwards.
have to try.
I said somewhat disagree. It's a conversation that is not just a black and white thing. I went to a public university. Did I get education from the public university? No, I did not. So if you subsidize something that is not valuable, it simply means that you haven't given me anything. Some of us had to make genuine, genius effort to get to where we are today. The conversation of whether you choose to leave this country or stay is a personal one. Albeit, it is important that we realize that talent goes where it is needed. If I have a passion to push the borders in automations engineering, I cannot sit in Nigeria and say, okay, I want to be a well-known expert in automations engineering. I don't have the opportunity to practice what I have here because we don't have the industries. I can't sit down in this country and say, I want to be patriotic. Patriotism in that aspect will pay me no good. If there's someone somewhere in China, in Beijing, in Germany, Berlin, in the US, who is offering me that opportunity to come exercise my muscles, I will go there. Coming from the angle of, we gave you subsidized education, you are obligated to stay, is not being fair to that conversation. I have participated with people from South Africa, from the US, from Japan, and a few other countries in Europe. And I've come to see that what I struggled to attain was what they got from a regularly planned system. And that's the problem. The level of intellect that I struggled, believing that this was going to make me better. When I got in their presence, I realized it just made me equal with them. I have to do extra work to be able to prove myself as being exceptional. I am an automations engineer. And today, when I teach persons on my team, I am not teaching what I learned in school, because what I learned in school is a far cry from what I know today. What we had in school, it was nothing. It could not have prepared us for the world we are in today until we make a society possible such that Nigerians can reinvest what they have, what the state has given them, if the state has given them something, or what they have created for themselves. You cannot, by measure of morality, tie any Nigerian to say you are not patriotic, not to stay back.
So I think we are deviating from the prompt. I strongly disagree. People are suffering. People are trying to look for a better life. Is it selfish of them? Yes. Is it unacceptable? No, it's not unacceptable. Leave. There are people that they don't have prospects here in Nigeria. And you are going to suffer and you want to stay. Leave. Some of us we know that if we stay here, for example, I'm in business, right? The laxity we have in business here in Nigeria compared to other countries. I want to stay here and build my money, right? But for some other people, they just want to leave entirely. So don't say it's selfish of you should not go. It's not acceptable. No, they should go.
My name is Abdulaziz Lawal Aliyu. I'm from Kebbi State. I'm a trained pharmacist. Nigerians can be very selfish, and it's part of the thing that keeping us to where we are. We don't think outside ourselves. The Agbiru that you are seeing, you are not having impact on his life, will eventually affect you. Maybe he can form a robbery. If you are not directly affected, maybe your children will be at risk. The same leaders that we complain about are selfish. If we keep being that, it will not take us out of where we are.
I disagree, not strongly though. Following what you just said, the Nigerian system has not put in place for you to must stay. You were trained, yes. The system did not follow up on you. Nigeria does not care whether you are working or you are earning. So if you have the opportunity, please go. The decision is yours. You are taking the decision. You will be responsible for the decision you have made. So nobody has the right to stop you or to label you as selfish for living.
Please tell them to come back when they go and they acquire those skills.
To come.
Yes.
If the system encourages them to come back, they will come.
Which it is not.
I strongly disagree. Based on what we have in our country, based on who we are, based on the way we run our government, cannot ask anybody not to go to where he wants to go. About people who are educated here in Nigeria, but could not have a place to function, what then would they be doing? They should rot away here in Nigeria? I am a local person. I love to be in my country, Nigeria. But for those who want to go, let them go.
And be
They're not selfish. They're not selfish.
Going.
And when they go, probably they give back. They bring something back home if they want. If they don't want, let them say that will not make them selfish.
It's their choice.
It's a very difficult stance where I am standing. It's very difficult to say don't go. But if everybody go, who is going to stay? I'll advise the government to put in incentives for people to stay. Malaysia, what they did, if you are an automation engineer, they'll probably give you scholarship. You go to the UK, you work in the lab, learn a lot of things. Then you come back. They will build the same thing that you're working with there. They will build it here and put a lot of people under you to learn it. The government need to put in incentives for people to stay. That's on them. But I want everybody to know that wherever you go, there is home. You have to come back.
Home is not working.
Calm down. We are young.
Don't think you're young, Abdulaziz. Sorry, I'm
No.
Abdulaziz,
Let me make my point.
Abdulaziz, hold on.
I agree.
Hold on.
Let me just make my point.
Let me
Please. Baba and Mommy will relate. There is a time in your life, I've studied this through Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I have not experienced it because I'm young. There is a level. There is a time that you need comfort. There is a time that you reach that all you want to do is give back.
You can give back abroad. From there, be giving back.
Yeah, you can send dollars. Send pounds.
You know, there is that saying that two blind men cannot lead each other. You are not standing well and you want to drag people. It's not possible. You all fall down. So when you have settled yourself, Japa rightly. So when you are landing there, you are landing well. By the time you land well, you put in your effort, God blesses you, you are able to send help back home. And who knows, you can now bring more people over or come back and settle down better.
Are they selfish or not? That's
Yes,
the question.
that's what I want to give
say
you.
they are selfish.
So again, you are selfish.
Again,
on
the
that
conversation
selfish,
of whether they
what
choose
do you
to
mean? Why
come
am I
back
selfish?
is a personal one.
So let me tell you why you
am I
are selfish.
In one sentence, why am I, if I decide, I've never suffered a day
Have
in
you
my
gone
life.
to-
I went to private schools. My parents
You are not in
paid-
this conversation. Let me first person that is in the
Why? Why are you
conversation.
removing me from the conversation?
Because it's your parents that
It
paid for
doesn't
you. I
matter.
cannot say that you are
Hold
selfish.
on. I've lived a
But
good
when
life.
government
Wait
pays for
now.
you from
Hold
our
on.
taxes.
If I've lived a good life from the day that I was born, I've gone to private schools, I've never suffered a day in my life, I will still go abroad. Why? Because I want to continue a life of enjoyment. Why should I cut that life short for anybody, for the country? I watched the graduation of a university. Yeah. The best graduating student in that whole school. That boy was giving a story of how he used to study till 3 a.m. Do you know what they gave him after he graduated? A chicken and a tuber of yam. The best graduating student in Oxford immediately work, like the job that once you come out, Mercedes-Benz, that's your first car. That's the kind of incentive they give you.
All fingers are not equal.
Okay, fine. If there is no incentive, why should I stay here? What is the dignity in suffering?
It's like a collective attack. Let me tell you something.
The passion is good, but you're trivializing the
It's
conversation.
not trivializing. I'm not allowed to talk.
If people think that it's selfish, I just want everybody to know that's watching that it's okay to be selfish.
I think there is a point of emotion that connects his experience to the concept of just leaving everything behind. But people that are grateful and are tied and are loyal to things that have been provided by the government, it tends to tie you in a certain spot. I'm not saying we shouldn't be loyal to something, but I think you should be loyal to yourself first and what you deserve and what you need.
There are a lot of things wrong with being selfish. If you are selfish, you cannot live in a community. And as humans, we need community. We feel like it's nothing, it's not privilege. I'm from the north. I know what security is. Not having security, I know what it is. So having security alone is something that you should be very grateful to some people. You live in a system where you got subsidized education. If you Japa because you are complaining that Nigeria is not fair for you after you got that education that have brought you to where you are, what will the other people that have not gotten the opportunity, same brain, same potential, what will they complain about
Should they stay
Nigeria?
and suffer?
Why, what is suffering? Let's define suffering in this context. What is suffering in this country? Yes! On whose standard are you suffering?
After the government has subsidized your
Yes.
education, the question now is, the job you are now doing, the government gave you the job.
Create job for people that did not go to school, that did not get the same.
Remember that girl that died because there was no oxygen tank in the hospital? Remember that situation? She
People will
wouldn't have
come
died
back and
if she
say,
jackpot.
he may not want to japa because maybe he doesn't have the opportunity. Probably he has never left this country for whatever reason. So he's just assuming that the things he sees on TV and all that may not be as real as they look like. He's the type of people that when they have the opportunity to leave, even to go and visit, they will just stay.
This is what suffering means for the Nigerian who has. Let's focus on the federal universities. Check the statistics for how many young engineers leave the federal universities, come out, go through youth service, and do not have the jobs to kickstart their lives. I need to let you know that your first degree education does not make you an expert in whatever field you are. It is the reason why you need that early building block for an environment that will engage what you know to make you better. It is either we're not giving these engineers enough information or the right kind of knowledge and we're just putting tags of titles on their shoulders, or we're not creating an enabling environment. So in Nigeria's case, it is both of them. It is not just one of them. I struggled with going to university and having to read books from the 60s and the 50s. We personally had to pull the effort of MIT to send us books down here. We never had the internet like you have it today. Whoever contributed to sending us those books, I salute you from, wherever I find dignity in my life.
In public university.
Abdulaziz, yes. Federal University of Technology Owerri is not a private-owned university. If we as students had to take that ingenious effort to pull that kind of influence, just to give us an opportunity to read in our field from modern knowledge, then we should not throw the applause to the federal government. Why it pains me is that I left the university some time ago. It hasn't changed.
If there was no continuity in that system that gave you the environment to think first of sourcing from MIT.
I rejected the
I will not talk.
role. I did not want to struggle with the same issues in the same university. Understand? We cannot be throwing applause for some system that is not giving us anything.
They're not giving you anything.
Mr. Nonso.
Nigerian system that you went to public university.
Mr. Nonso, hold on.
Speaking like this because you have
An emphatic yes, Abdulaziz. An emphatic yes. I did not go to Ahmadu Bello University, so I am not saying something that will be controversial.
So let us leave this matter. I think they have a lot of differences, but in the real sense of it, nobody will say that Nigeria has not done anything for him as a Nigerian. The father is the land of your birth. Nigeria has done something for you.
Once you are educated, I think that's the beginning of your potential. There are a lot of people that have the same potential, but they did not get the opportunity to do that. So if those people say that they are ungrateful to Nigeria, it's understandable. Not you that was given a debatably, globally competitive form of education.
And Mr. Abdulaziz, let me tell you something. I want to remind you that in the 70s, when you finish from university in Nigeria, you have straight work, even with a car. But today, when you finish school, is there any work? Is there anything at stake? Is there anything ahead for you?
Even if there's work, the standard of living is still shifting.
The work is not even there.
Baba, why didn't your people sustain that system?
So that is the one reason today that they have to go to wherever they want to go in order to get what they want and to take care of themselves.
I genuinely understand where they are coming from. There is limit to what an individual can do. If the government is not putting right things in the right places, it will be very difficult to stand and defend what I was saying. But I still believe that there are other countries that had it worse than we had, and they were able to pass through that without their government.
In 20 years, I believe Nigeria will be great again.
I think that in 20 years, Nigeria will be great again. Firstly, let me just say, because the people of my generation, God willing, would have gotten into power. People that think different, people that do things differently, people that actually believe in our greatness, people that are more creative, people that are angry as well. So I think give us 20 years. Let that anger boil. Let us get to that place where we can step in and make changes. And we have a chance.
I think that a change can be made, by the way. I just somewhat agree. But it still depends. It depends. That anger, the boiling you're talking about, we might not get there. The boiling point might just keep shifting. Because I see someone say this thing one time that you push a Nigerian to the wall, they will dig the wall and still go further. And I also think religion has dampened our logic to now focus on what is right. So I just think it'll just keep going. But we can't get better if the right people get into power.
I chose somewhat agree because for me, it is a statement from a place of deep hope, not necessarily because the indices on ground. It is important that we bring passion to bear, but it's also important that we bring knowledge to bear first. It's the right foot forward that we must bring, we must call knowledge. And determination before passion basically becomes the driving force. It wasn't just police brutality. It is not just electoral fraud. It is beyond that. And so it's the reason why when you hear me talk, I am talking from a structural perspective. The structure has to be fixed and not just, the effect of the problems we're seeing. Am I hopeful Nigeria will change? Yes, I am hopeful. I believe in Nigeria. It's the reason I have not taken my passport and applied for citizenship or pursuing something else outside this country. But that hope must be backed by action.
I somewhat agree. In 20 years, Nigeria will be better. One reason I think is because most of these old faces we've been seeing circulating would have gone.
Yes.
For whatever reason, they would have stepped aside.
We're necessarily not going to get a new breed if we don't start having the conversations we're having now. The children of those who we are praying will die are replacing their fathers.
Nigeria can be better if things change. You guys are faulting my generation because I think I belong to that generation. This generation that we are talking about, they are leaving some prints, even as they are going. They are having replicas. Unless all of us, we have to take the bull by the horn. That's when that change will come.
I chose somewhat agree, like all of us did, because I'm a rational optimist. But beyond the burning anger, we need action. And everybody should act in his sector. If you are into creative industry, do the best there. If you are in automation stuff, take it to that level. If you're in health, do it to that level. I will stick to the boring slogan that has been around Nigeria. You have to start that change that you want to see with you.
We need to start asking the right questions. We need to start asking why there is corruption in our judiciary system. We need to start asking why our military is not able to fight Boko Haram. We need to start asking ourselves, why are we not able to run construction companies that can build our roads locally? We need to ask ourselves why, if I present myself bidding for a contract with the government and some guy with a foreign-looking skin presents himself, nobody asks a question about capacity. No matter what happens in this country, we must remain a generation or a group of people who keeps in the consciousness of those who are going astray that this is not normal. It is not normal for me to take my passport and fly out of Nigeria and land at Addis Ababa. Foreign nationals are put on a queue. Ethiopian nationals walk straight through, and they go into their country. And I come back to Nigeria, and Nigerians are put on a queue, and foreign nationals are given preferential treatment. It is not normal. It is not normal for Nigerians to go through school and the lecturers impressionate on them that they do not have knowledge except they accept what they give them. It is not normal for us to have a society that is this weak and this raped. It is not normal. Nigerians need to start thinking that. Thank you, guys.
I'm happy it was diverse because I got to learn a lot. Some of my decisions, they have changed. My perspectives have shifted a bit, not fully changed, but it was quite impressive.
If you're a Nigerian watching this, first of all, if you see opportunity to Japa, book that flight. Second of all, if you're a Nigerian youth, we talked about in 20 years. We have time. Let's start doing whatever it is that we need to do to remove these people that are in government and start taking our place.
We should do more of acting on what we should do than just discuss it and let it be.
I need us all to know that ship is sinking. I'm not saying it has sunk. This is not the time for us playing some nice music, giving ourselves false hope. We need to start doing something drastic. It is either we start calling for help or we start getting who know how to fix this ship to start doing what it takes to save us from going down with this very ship.
to every Nigerian watching this, there is so little that you can do as an individual. But wallahi, don't underestimate your impact. When Nigerians hold ourselves to certain standard, we have a lot of potential.
All the vices in Nigeria need to go. And it has to begin from somewhere. From me, from you, and from every other person. From our homes, because all these things start from our individual homes.
Thank you very much. We've come to the end of today's episode. We appreciate if everyone can say a word of greeting to each other.
Let me greet.
Who do I shake? You know, I'll give you a hug. No, it's
Chiamaka told me
that. 2, 3, and then we go.
Okay.